you know how this works. Once I just say it,
But just try.
it's hard
About
to
society basing knowledge off. Because
Well, I'm
I
just saying-
think our intellectual levels are judged off of reference points to social media. If you are able to reference certain points, certain quotes from movies, certain situational, like we were talking about with Russell Brand being quick off the draw,
Yeah.
he might not be that smart a guy, but the fact that
But
he
recognizes the cues, and therefore that triggers the
response,
thought,
yeah,
which is actually a more appropriate response than is, say, I don't know, something you read in a book by some lame-ass motherfucker that, I mean, yeah, it pretty much explains the same thing. I mean, if you think about it, it's just the difference being is Russell Brand doesn't really use a whole bunch of fucking fancy jargon, nor does he use any terminology that he was taught in a fucking university. He just goes off of what fucking Webster put in our dictionary, which, let's face it, is a lost language at this point. And he
it's really blurry, and I don't know why. But go ahead.
Way to just...
I'm trying to figure out.
No, he reappropriates
His vocabulary is
all
deep,
of-
though.
all of the vernacular that is in there. Like, it was prevalent, it still is prevalent, it's still part of our heritage, our culture, our way of understanding, and yet here we are trying to
Go ahead.
justify our understanding of society through what we've learned through school, and here he is breaking those bounds by teaching us to kind of think outside the box just through language alone. And then circling it back to, like, I mean, honestly, it's applicable to everything that we have. Like what I was saying, the whole dynamic of we base somebody's appropriate skill off of their resume. We don't actually know that that's applicable, but that's all we know to base it off of. And by that, we just decide that, yeah, okay, this works. When really, there's somebody who can come along, actually get skills that would make this successful, but because we didn't record that in a previously determined...
Fucking Word document of, here's how well I can pay someone to edit things that I...
Yeah, sure.
It's all doctored up, too. It's like,
Exactly.
we have this skill, this skill, this skill, but it's a matter of what buzzwords we can put in front of that skill. It's not a matter of the skill itself. It's what word can we make that's going to catch someone's attention.
Exactly. And it's really how fancified we can make it. I mean, fucking... I would go so far as to say aesthetically we could print it in gold leaf and fucking feathered parchment. But fuck all of it.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Like, we have the skills based upon us. Really, if we really think about it, there's nobody that's really qualified to actually determine what our capabilities are. It's not until we have to utilize what we have that we realize what we do have to utilize. And as obscure as a statement as that is, we actually do discover more about ourselves than we previously thought was there. And we also, if I could just say, we have this set structure for ourselves that society has built for us, built on our appearance.
Of course.
Built on our emotions, our intellect. Whatever they see first. And they try to bind us by those stereotypes that they have associated with those things. And let's be real, I mean, and I can speak from this as a living example, like, nobody expects me to know shit about anything, because I get off the appearance of a meathead, a fucking no brain, just nitwit who spends all his time in the gym. But what's great is that in a set, as an interaction, I can give off so much knowledge. And what's great is seeing the look on their faces when I do this, because the knowledge I relay to them lets them know that, holy fuck, okay, so this guy's not an idiot, but at the same time they're caught off guard because they don't know what else to think. Like,
it shatters their stereotype.
Yes. And by this, gives me so much of an upper hand above them alone, let alone any competitor that I have that they presumably deemed at my level. Say I was applying for a job, this is it. Like, I'm showing them that I have a multifaceted fucking advantage over everyone. Like, here's a scale, okay, here's the different aspects. I've got everything now versus what they deemed that I used to have, which, let's face, is totally based on the physical.
Mm.
And then you got those nerdy types who are like there and there, which is who are all trying to help, but like, fuck, like, we got this, you know, like, the whole dimension of what they presume is okay is actually not okay, but we have a way around that system. And I mean, not only that, like, we beat it so bad that it's like, how can you not like us? At this point, like, there's no reason for not having success.
Oh, yeah.
At this point.
No, it's like we invest that much time and energy into educating ourselves. The difference, I think, being honestly, is like we convey it when it's elicited versus walking around, I'm educated, let me just throw this in your face. Like, you know, there's people that are like, oh, I believe what you meant to say. It's like, no, what I meant to say is this, because I know who I'm talking to, and I know that audience is what is going to understand that certain diction.
Yes, exactly. Way to help me interpret that. Exactly. And so true, too, because I've been hit with that many times in my life. I mean, fuck, I've been working in the same business forever, but it's like, you know, I've been giving shit, you know. It comes to a point where, you know, granted, working where we have, it gets to a point where, like, people realize that the application process is moot, and then you don't fucking get that. It's just like, well, yeah, we want you. So they will hire you on because they realize, yeah, everybody talks, and they say that you're fucking awesome. So let's get you on board. Whatever. So that's what the type of goal that you want to achieve. It's just, you don't want to, I guess, I don't know. You don't want to just thrust that in the public's face. Like, that's not an applicable thing for, like, every situation. You gotta know and recognize when it's actually valuable for you to gain status in a social interaction, and when it's not. Because actually there are times when it's just going to look like you're the douchebag, which I have done before. You're going to look like the douchebag that is like, yeah, I'm better than you. But now, at this point that I'm trying to convey it to you, I'm throwing it in your face versus I didn't turn that switch off so that you guys could relate to me on an intimate level. And by that, realize that I'm actually a real person. It's not...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not that I'm not a real person. It's just, you need to make them realize it. Because they don't realize where and where not to understand that you are not related to them anymore on a completely superficial level. Because at that point, by the time they realize it, it's obviously too late. Like, they've missed half your conversation.
Yeah.
You can
pretty still judgments and social fucking pressures that they come in with this preconceived notion of you. And then what happens is you're like, hey, I wasn't trying to show off my intelligence levels because I like to be able to be socially mobile. But then you come across that barrier, and because we are socially mobile, it's like, hey, guess what? I'm educated beyond you.
They will always give you shit, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
maintenance levels, yes, they will always give you shit.
Fat Tuesday
They
right
will
now.
test
Yeah.
your shit because they realize
Oh.
this is the breach you're coming upon, and if you can surpass that, then they're just like fucking. It's like a baby in a pool without water wings. Like nothing. Just slap as you will, but they can't hold themselves.
I found a video
your
blog
kind,
about
you
the
know?
fucking people talking shit on the fur coat and stuff, and I was just kind of going over the different kinds of people, that are gonna either say something at first and be cool with it, and it's just the same thing. And like when I was actually in class today, my first class of the day, had a company come and talk to us that I wouldn't mind working for because they move people around a lot, and it seems like the corporate structure I like.
Yeah.
I won't give any names, but it rhymes with Cornell, and they sell meat and make an awesome product chili. By that I mean Hormel.
Didn't know that.
No, but then the guy drops this on us. The GPA standard is 2.7. If you're not above that, don't even bother applying. And I think to myself, what do you think the people that are below 2? Granted, the majority might be just fucking off and not giving a shit about life. But it's like you're still negating the individuals that are starting their own company, writing their own book, building their own fucking firm from nothing, and they don't have a 2.7 because, hey...
They're focused elsewhere.
Yeah, like, you're negating this whole level of individual, which is the same thing you were talking about with people pre-assessing individuals, like, oh, this guy's ripped as hell, he's probably not as intellectual as we want. No, like, that's our problem with society, and that's what the whole site that we're doing is fixing, is because we're socially mobile, we shatter stereotypes, and we're saying, hey, don't give in to these social pressures, social judgments, these limitations that everybody's going to put on you.
Exactly. And that's the fucking thing that's what we're building off of. Like, we got that. It's fucking as simple as body image and assumptions to fucking... There. You have a fucking idea. You have one idea, and then here it is. Here's their stereotype. Does it match? Oh, well, they're not sure. So they get scared. It's at that point where we come in. It's like, yeah... Okay, this is a pretty daunting task. Like, people get freaked out by the fact that they might have to commit to something like this. But it's called foresight and perseverance. Like, that's how we push forward and make sure that our dreams come to fruition. This is what makes shit happen. And upon that, we actually make ourselves look, hey, better than an entire... extra fucking the whole business. Like, say you have a competitor, the entire business. This is where we draw the line, and this is how we're better than all of this. Because let's face it, that's a big thing to say, but hey, that's where it happens.
You hire one person that can overcome those social barriers, the whole company is going to catch on and be like, hey, we can overcome these barriers. Like, there's so many limitations and expectations set in our society, and it's all these companies, every Fortune 500 company right now, I guarantee you would make tenfold and make number one on the list if they just had the balls to be like, hey, let's model ourselves after these guys and not give a fuck what people think. All these standards of something simple like, oh, he's got to wear a suit every day. Like, why? Who decided that? The same people back in the day that had the balls to be like, you know what, this isn't right, we should wear a suit every day. Well, guess what? We're the same people saying now, this isn't right. We're no longer there. We've grown. We've built upon it. And now we can do whatever the fuck we want because we're at a new level of society. At least we're about to build one that's free. We're releasing ourselves of these social barriers and these social limitations and expectations, these norms, these certain value sets. And I'm not saying people should just liberate themselves and go out and be like, you know what, I live in my own world, I'm going to go kill someone. Like, no, but you live by your own expectations, the moral humanitarian code of right and wrong, and you do what the fuck is, like, not given to you by a corporation, but what's given to you by your personal moral code.
I feel like the real basic feedback if I could just say that, like the
Do
real
it.
raw nitty gritty of what's gonna hone your drive and your success is. And this is just an observation from me,
Go
because
for it.
let's face it, we're all trying to get to that level. I mean, but what you want is to try and develop your drive, your want of this, because at the end of the day, what you're focusing on, what you want as a success, which is deemed by you, let's face it, nobody else can determine that for you.
Exactly.
What you want will be justified and or will come about eventually if you just persevere by what you decide is your calling, your little niche, your little anything that you want to be. The only thing that will get you there in the end, and not to quote so many self-help books, is just you. Like, we're more directly related to telling you how to develop you and how to utilize that once you've self-discovered what you want, but what you need isn't just some generality that you can find in a book. You can find it in some books. You have to read multiple books. We all fucking have to try and deal with a bunch of obstacles. What's going to help you is your self-drive. I mean, we'll help you as much as we can, but it's up to you. And honestly, the way I view that is more of a self-empowerment, if we're being completely honest. Because by you accepting that, yes, your life is not done, you have more to give, whatever, now let me go do this, obviously with more passion, that would sound very monotone. While that's happening, you actually capture onto some kind of glint, some spark of